Missing and Endangered Persons event code. So for talking about that, we have Mei Wu from IPAWS Engineering, works closely with Ward, and Eddie Bertola, Bertola Advisory Services, also at IPAWS. So these are two great people to talk about this. Super new topic. Hopefully generates a lot of interest. But Eddie and May, where are you, May? Sorry.
Right here.
May, you're here. Okay, you are here. Okay,
Yes.
to you guys.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and start. I want to first acknowledge everybody who's been doing this for a long time. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for helping to move things forward. Also, I want to acknowledge those that are just starting out that feel like they're drinking from a fire hose. Stick with it. You are going to continue to learn, and there will be people here to support you each step of the way. The MEP code and the whole process for this highlights something that the director said actually at a conference we were at, I think this week earlier over in Branson, Missouri. There is a unique avenue that ties in all of emergency management, all of those that work in IPAWS, and every public safety official. And it's the number one mission that we have. And it's not logistics or any of those things. It's really saving lives. That is our primary mission. And we all do different things to support that, but that's what it gets down to. The Missing and Endangered Person event code, that process has highlighted the actions of what everybody is doing. This is set up to facilitate a uniform processing of all the different alerts that are out there. Many of you in different states have unique alerts that you use for missing and endangered persons. There's multiple color named alerts. There's others that highlight a specific person's name, but they all are about the same thing, about trying to recover people who are in an endangered situation. The Ashanti Alert of 2018 was a big part of this as it was signed into federal legislation. And it is in place to help a gap that was identified. The Amber Alert, which generally covers those from newborn to 18, and there may be some special circumstances that move it one way or the other. But there was this gap of everybody after. And again, many states had already put in place something to cover those individuals. Well, what we at least have seen is that people were using different event codes to try and push out life-saving alerts, and it sometimes caused confusion, or there really just wasn't a specific bucket to place all of these types of alerts in. And with the MEP alerts, or I'm sorry, the MEP event code that's going to be coming out, which May is going to talk about, you are going to see a specific location, something that you can identify and hold on to say, yep, these types of alerts that we are working on, how we're leveraging the tools and resources of IPAWS are going to be done through this purpose. I will say, to highlight again what Manny said earlier, is the strive for perfection is not stopping us from moving forward. We know that this is not the end product of what you're going to see, but also we feel that it's very important to take steps forward as we progress, and we are absolutely looking for feedback. So I'm going to pass it to May, who's going to talk to us a little bit more about timetables and how it's all going to interconnect.
Thank you, Eddie. First of all, I just want to introduce myself. This is my first time in this panel. Nice to greet you all because I'm actually the new system owner for IPAWS Open after our engineering branch chief, Marley Sale. I will continue to make sure the IPAWS Opens are always available for alerting authority and able to continue improving our system. So thank you, Eddie, for the background information. I want to say that the introduction of missing endangered person event code in the FCC regulation is crucial to improve the public safety. FCC amended this regulation for emergency alert system, EAS, and wireless emergency alert, WEA, to add this new standardizing event code, MEP. So it allows alert originator to issue an alert to the public about missing endangered person whose circumstance will not meet the Amber Alert. And currently, the effective date for the FCC mandate usually they are 12 months from the ruling publication from the Federal Registry. But because of September 6, 2025 is a Saturday, so FCC pushed the effective date to the next business day, Monday, September 8, 2025. We know IPAWS Open is a critical piece for both front-end alert aggregation and back-end dissemination. So we quickly push out this new release 4.02.06.01 in November that can support MEP function. But so that we should try to give it more time so that alert origination software vendors as well as ES vendor will have more time to develop their product to support MEP. And also because those developer and vendors are currently not ready, the MEP permission will be disabled for all CAC when the MEP initially become available in IPAWS Open. For the individual CAC who may want to request an MEP permission by submitting they need to submit an updated Public Alerting Authority PAA application. CAC will be also reminding that they should coordinate with their local broadcast and cable operator before they originating the MEP message that's intended to send out for the EAS dissemination. For the EAS WEA message, alerting authority will continue able using public safety or email threat as we are handling code. Next slide, please. As our IPAWS technical support service currently are tracking the MEP availability for the AOSP vendors in both staging and also the demo environment. In the next 3 months, our TSSF will check on the alert software vendors the readiness to supporting the MEP. And then also the EAS vendor will have until the effective date to develop their product to comply with the FCC mandate. We will have a soft rollout for WEA to support MEP that currently scheduled to be around spring 2025. Also, again, for the individual CAC who wanted to send an MEP message using EAS, then they should require extra coordination between their alerting software vendor, IPAWS, and the local broadcast. So in next year, our TSS also will incorporate a new event called MEP when they're conducting a training and exercise with the alerting authority. The training schedule currently is not finalized, as Victor previously mentioned, but the TSSF do intend to have at least one webinar about MEP and possibly around April or May. And then we'll also have a virtual tabletop exercise in late July or early August before the MEP effective date on September the 8th. And as always, alerting authority are always encouraging to call and email the technical support service to customize their planning of training and exercise in person or virtual. I will also drop their contact information in the chat in here. With that, I'll pass the mic back to Eddie. Thank you.
On mute, Eddie.
There we go. We want to recognize the support from our tribal nations, those that have been pushing for this. There are many populations that are disproportionately impacted with missing person cases. Those plans that are out there that are helping our murdered and missing Indigenous populations, as well as other populations in our country. And we want to make sure to offer that support. As you can see, we can go over statistics, the hundreds of thousands of times this occurs in our nation. So having these tools are very important. I think just a few things to highlight. If you're thinking, does this mean I have to stop using a particular alert that I already have? No. This is there as you are working to put in this information into your alert origination software provider as you go through that process to be able to select a specific event code. We know that we can use the child abduction emergency event code for an AMBER. alert. But for those that are not an Amber Alert, and again, that can be your endangered missing advisories, your silver alerts, purple alerts, and again, it can go on. We now will have a place that we can put these types of alerts so that we can continue to build this process. As you go through these changes, like anything else, please develop your templates. I'm not gonna let out other things that are coming. I will just say there are many other things coming that will be introduced either today or shortly by IPAWS, and they're exciting. I've been lucky enough to see some of these, and I know that you are going to find a lot of value in them. So work on your templates, work on training, and as you do these tests, you're going to find yourself to be more empowered, and it's going to just work out really well. So just that's it for us.
What is the difference between MEP versus a missing person? Is it replacing Ashanti alerts? So it's kind of two questions rolled into one there.
It's not replacing Ashanti alerts. It's giving you an event code that aligns with Ashanti alerts, that aligns with feather alerts, that aligns with, Eddie composed a list of about 50 or more localized terms for missing and endangered people that are from across the country. It's a category that can be used for any of these locally legislated alerting systems that aligns with the need to provide assistance to help find a missing or an endangered person.
Also, I wanted to add it helps reduce the confusion with all the different colors and names. It also helps as we go forward with the public understanding that this is an emergency about a missing person and not a threat to them necessarily, because those two things can be mixed. So we just want to make sure that that as we go forward, folks use the MAP, because we and the FCC and our other partners believe it will help clarify the missing persons messaging out to the public.
You also have to remember that if you send the alert, an alert to EAS, the alert message begins with who sent it, a civil authority, and the event code. So we've had people that were very concerned because a local area emergency was used for a person with Alzheimer's that wandered off, or a special needs child that had wandered off. And well, that's not it was for that individual, but this provides a more appropriate leading language, leading term coming into the alert material, so that people know what to expect when they see the rest of the message scroll across their screen.
Thanks, everyone. Could anyone speak to the decision to keep Amber as a separate WIA handling code from the MEP code? So
Amber was established under the guidance of the Department of Justice, and it has specific requirements, and all of that information, that those requirements have flown forward from the official Amber Alert guidance from DOJ. So it's its own entity.
Got to go off mute myself there. Okay, Al. What about MEP issuance guidance between local jurisdictions and maybe a state jurisdictions, as is the case with Amber Alerts sometimes?
Again, we go back to the DOJ guidance for Amber Alerts. Amber Alerts were the original guidance was they were either issued by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children or by states, territories that have an Amber Alert committee. Now that's been modified so that I know that in Northeast Ohio there's a cluster of counties that have Amber Alert authority that was granted by agreement with the Ohio State Amber Alert Committee. And there are other situations. Tribal nations are allowed to issue Amber Alerts. because they don't have to have a specific approval of the states around them. So it all flows back to the original guidelines established by DOJ.
We are currently working with the FCC and our working group and others to provide best practices for the use of the MEP. And you will be receiving some information in the next few months. We're also asking you to provide us with some additional support guidance and advice so that we can collaboratively come up with the best practices for the use of the MEP. We believe it's going to help iron things out a bit. Initially, there's always going to be a little bit of give and take as we get ourselves together. But we believe this is going to help work out some of the wrinkles that we've seen with the missing persons alerts across the country. This is going to help our tribal partners do what they do better for their residents and their members. And we take it very positively. We look forward to working with you on the MEP. Eddie, you wanted to add something? I think you had gone to unmute earlier.
Yeah, just I think you were starting to hit that too. Is I've heard people say with the MEP event code, well, it's just, it's an EAS handling code. It's an EAS. And you're right, it is. And I think an important part, and we can do this on different trainings and discussions, is EAS is an integral part of the IPAWS system and with missing and endangered persons. I know we focus a lot on the WIA, but EAS has its place as an extremely resilient system, especially in rural areas. When it comes to the WIA parameters, Al spoke about it, the child abduction emergency event code and WIA handling parameter doesn't change. That stays with the Amber Alert program. This is for everything outside of that, where we have an event code specifically supporting these efforts. And then we have the event codes that the parameters that we've always had. And again, this is, unless anybody's going to say anything else, this isn't the final stage where there's still discussions and everything else. And I look forward to seeing how this is going to progress.
Eddie, that cleared up one of the things in the chat. It is a roll up of a lot of different, colored alerts, or, the green or the purple, or, but Amber is still separate. I saw, and Carly Tapp from the NCMEC is on here too. I saw her commenting in the chat, but
and we will continue, Justin, to support Amber and NCMEC. It's not going away.
As for the comment that mentioned that we have Amber, Blue, and MEP, MEP covers Amber. Blue is where a law enforcement officer has been physically attacked. That's quite a different thing. And as for Silver Alert, I'm closer to it than most of you, and I want to make sure this is working so when I go wandering off, somebody can find me.
Our next test of the Silver Alert, Al Kenyon. But question now about geoconstraining the MEP event code. Is that still possible? As
it is highly encouraged to geoconstrain the MEP to an appropriate area. Actually, it's highly recommended to geoconstrain an Amber Alert to an appropriate area. Depends on the timing and how far the person in question may have traveled, or so those determinations have to be made by law enforcement and the people that are assembling the alert. And we hope that they do it in an appropriate fashion.